Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Luke with Premium Aquatics here, and today we've got quite a unique feat that we're going to undertake. So I guess let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I hope you guys are doing great. Hope you've been having a fantastic week and great new year. Without further ado, let's go ahead, jump right into it. Okay, guys, as you can see here, sort of, I have a box. It's very massive and huge and heavy. What is it, you might ask? Well, thank you for asking. Today, we are looking at the Trigger Systems Platinum Sump. That's right. Their Platinum series, which means integrated fleece roller. You heard me. It's integrated into the system. We've had it for a while, but today I'm going to be opening it up, taking a look at it. And the feat that I'm going to attempt with this, which I highly do not recommend, I'm going to take this trigger sump and I'm going to throw it on the tank. That's right, you heard me. I'm going to swap out my sumps. I've had the Bash C for how many years now? It's a couple of years now, and I absolutely love it. But thank you, Trigger. We're going to try out the Platinum. We're going to have an integrated filter roller, which you know I love the filter rollers, so having it integrated so it takes up less room. If you, depending on what type of sump you have, those filter rollers can really be bulky inside there, especially if you have drains for your socks already. It's just adding more room to it, so having it integrated is really cool. So we're going to open this bad boy up, we're going to talk about it, and then I'm going to, over the next week or so, prepare myself to get this guy swapped out. So without further ado, let's open this bad boy up. Come on, guys. Here it is, guys. One Band-Aid later, we've got this guy out. This thing is beautiful. I love it. It's got the blue sapphire trim pieces, the smoked gray black back panel. Really nice features to it, just full of features. This one is the 39-inch unit. They do have 4 different models. This is the 39 by 16, and they are all 15 inches high. Then they have a 34-inch by 15. Then they also have a 26 by 13. And then lastly, they have a 20 by 20 cube. So a lot of different options for different type of systems you've got. So that's really nice. But first and foremost, let's start out with this baffle here, this little weird guy we got going on. Why do you have this, you ask? Well, we want a little bit of security because this middle baffle is movable. It's removable. It's whatever you want it to be. This sump is at your command. The reason they do this is because some people have larger skimmers, some people have smaller skimmers. Why take up all this space in the skimmer section if you just got a small little guy over here? You can push this way over, create a huge refugium, and then have just that much more room. What about people that have massive skimmers? They like their big skimmers. They're massive. They got a huge footprint. Move it back over, have a little bit smaller refugium, but it fits exactly what you need, how you want it. So the nice thing about it is you can either remove it completely and just have one massive chamber, or you can move it. And that's all you have to do is there's thumb screws on the inside here, 6 on this side that will push it out and hold it in place. So you would just loosen those up, and bam, just like this. Now I can take it out completely. I can remove it. I can make this refugium smaller, and I just tighten them back down in, and I'm good to go. Push it all the way over here, tighten it back down in, and I'm good to go. So that's a really cool feature. This just helps you give extra support because you don't have this glued in piece like most sumps do. You don't have that extra rigidity from that piece being glued in. So really nice. I love that feature. It just allows customization without having to have something set in place. So that's cool. If you upgrade your tank, upgrade your skimmer, downgrade your skimmer, whatever you want to do, you've got that ability. So that's really cool. I love that feature. We have our then set baffle over here, which has a pre-filter sponge, and it drips through, comes into our return section as a normal sump would. On this sump, we do have an adjustable plate here so we can raise and lower this up accordingly. That'll be just done by a couple of thumb screws as well. So that's nice to have the filter, pre-filter sponge. I love these things. It's always nice not to have to worry about stuff getting into your return pump area. So this is always nice to have, and it's removable. So, and washable and all that jazz. So that's nice to have. I love those. And then we come to the main part the sump is all about, the fleece roller. Now it's not set up yet. It's all in parts in here, but as you can see, we have a fleece roll. The great thing about these fleece rolls is you can see, look how long this guy. This is a 10-inch fleece roll. It is 50 yards long and massive. So we're spanning the length almost of this sump, we're having the water hit more surface area and be able to flow through it a lot more. They said they tested it up to 3,000 gallons per hour, but that was the biggest pump they said they had. So it's possible it could do more. They didn't really say that for sure, but at least 3,000 gallons per hour. Some of the other smaller sumps will have an 8-inch over the 10-inch, but this guy is a 10-inch unit. Really nice, so we'll get that set up. And then right here we have our bracket / control mount. So this is going to go on the on this far back side. You can see it's already wired up for you. It's going to be connected to 2 float switches on the front side. But again, I'll bring you in closer here, so let me unwrap all this and then we'll go further into it. So as you can see here, I've got the motor. It has 3 holes along this bottom plate. We're going to undo these 3 thumb screws right here. Very simply, let them fall in, so we have to dig for them. Place our unit on top and just thread our screws back in. And just as simple as this, we have our first portion set up. And then we have our other side of the bracket that's going to hold in the filter roll, and that just goes on these 2 thumb screws here. So we'll undo these thumb screws and put this in next. Another wonderful feature on this sump is this part right here, which is your drain chamber. This is where the water is going to flow into first and then flow into the chamber with the fleece roller. The nice thing about this is there's a gasket here. And what the purpose of this is, if we take off our 4 thumb screws, and then as you know, with most areas where water is draining into your sump, there's usually a lot of splashing and bubbles and all that occur. So you're going to insert your little drain pipes here, which are 2 1-inch drain pipes, and then you're going to tighten them back down. Now you have this gasket here that's going to seal from any splashing to occur up and out of the sump and create that salt creep that you have around your sump normally with most drain systems. So that's a really cool feature that I actually really appreciate. And bam, now we have our inlet pipes here. 2 1-inch pieces on this piece, and again, it'll flow down, and then there's a hole back right here where the water will flow over into our fleece area. So let's go ahead and get the fleece contraption set up here next. Another nice feature about this sump is you have an adjustable float switch. This float switch is what determines the moving of your fleece roll. So as the water level rises, it'll turn the fleece roll on. As it lowers back down, then it'll shut it back off. However, because they're taking consideration that some people want different water heights in their skimmer area, because this is all connected and interwoven. So depending on what water level you want, all you have to do is raise and lower the float switch, and that will determine the water level throughout this chamber as well as your skimmer chamber. Right here is a screw and another screw. And the nice thing about this sump is, if you can see, right here is this white line. The wiring on this is all really nice and neatly tucked away, minus this little piece here where the motor is. The rest is tucked away under the lip here, going all the way back and then coming all the way up front and to your 2 float switches. So if you loosen these 2 screws up, it'll allow you to pull and feed a little bit more cord into this front chamber. That way, if you decide you want to have it even lower, you can do that. And you just have to feed a little bit more of that wire in there. And what I would do is I would just feed some of it in there anyways to keep it here, tighten those screws back down. And now if you ever need to adjust this float switch, really easy and simple to do. Okay, so now we're going to take our 2 pieces here. This is the empty roll. So we're going to just slide these together. They interlock with each other. Oops. Just like that. On this side here, it does have a gear wheel which will interlock with this gear, and then our other side just sits in place. And now it can roll with the motor. It does come with 2 fleece rolls, so all we're going to do is eventually we'll put the end caps on the end of each roll. We'll slide it in here, and then we're going to feed it through, and once I feed it through, I'll back up here a little bit and show you how we're going to feed it through this unit. So I'll just show you real quick here. Essentially, we're going to put the fleece on the top here, and we're going to slide it down so it goes underneath and on this side of this roll. It's going to go underneath and then go over to the far roll. It'll go under and up. It will go up on the other side of that roll and then come back to our empty roll, and we'll wrap it around a couple of times and then put it in place. That way it stays tight. And then there are 2 slots here. If you can see, that is for 2 acrylic panels that it will come with. Those will slide into place right here. It has this little hole so you can grab it out easily. But that is just to make it so the fleece stays on this wall and doesn't go and try to travel onto the other side. Because obviously with the water movement, it could try and pull a little bit. So if you feel like you need that, you can have that there. They say generally that's for high flow areas. So most people probably won't need that. They also come with a 3rd plate, which is this guy, and that actually sits on top here, just like this, and that will protect from splashing in this area and keep this all dry, hopefully, for you. So that's really nice. Has a little notch out here, so you can pull it out and open it whenever you need to. Let me get this fleece inserted, and we'll be right back. So now what we're gonna do is there are 2 caps that come with this setup. You're gonna put one in each end of this roll, one on the other side, and then that just slides into place like that. Now I'll move you over here. As you can see, I lost my roll, so I need to grab that back. There is a little slot here and on the other side that it goes through to help guide it in the initial stage, so I'll grab that, bring it past this roller down here, and then it'll come up through the slot. Okay, so it's plugged in, so we have our power symbol right here, so we're just gonna turn it on. Now we know we have power, and if we hit this top button, we'll see the motor's gonna roll, which will light up here as well. And as you can see, this motor is now spinning, and my little roll came loose. And we're just gonna have to hold this button for a little while, that way the paper fleece roll can get tight, and then we'll be all set up with the fleece. Now you can see it's starting to roll it. And then we also have this part here. One, we have a float switch. This is also connected through a wire that's going to go underneath these little panels here and into the motor. When you turn off the return pump, what generally you see happen is more water floods into the sump from the tank, and then that's going to raise the water level inside the first chamber, making that fleece roller think that it needs to roll, and technically it doesn't. So if you have this here, when you turn off that return pump and the water starts going up, it's going to then trigger this float and turn off the filter roller, so that way you're not wasting more rolls. You could put it here if you wanted to, and again, we can pull a little bit more, and we can either drop it down, and we can also put it just on the back wall and make it that much lower. So basically, put it down here, put it wherever you need to, and there we go. And then we have these 4 holes right here with this little bracket down below. These are for our John Guest Quick Connect fittings. Whether you're dosing something, this would be a perfect portion to put your tubing right into this in the Quick Connect fittings. All you're gonna do is take off the nut, insert it, put the nut back on, and then insert it through that bottom tube there, or bottom hole there, and then just tighten the nuts up, and then you have these nice Quick Connect fittings. And then lastly, for this section, we do have a spare inlet that if you want to use it, you can put it right here as a extra inlet for your tank, or there is another spot I'll show you here, but this will be the first one that you could put it. You could just undo these screws, put it right here. If you want to bypass anything or an emergency drain or anything like that, you could put that right there. Or if we come over here, we also have right where these wires are, which we can get these out of the way because there's just excess wire for whether you want to pull and fill up this other area. We have this area back here, which also can connect this drain inlet to. And so then you have another bypass if you'd want to. And then down here, we have a couple of probe holders, which inside your parts bag, you'll find some rubber gaskets, O-rings right here, and you'll just put those around your probe and then insert that probe into those holes. You have 2 different sizes that you can utilize there. So that's really nice as well to have that back. It's kind of out of the way. It doesn't get trapped in here. There's a little nook area that's into, so that's really nice. So that's all there is to it. But that's it, guys. Really simple to set up. I put the baffle right here for now. We'll see how the skimmer stand and the eShop skimmer that we're running works in this chamber. I think I might even put it a little bit further, get some nice, get my algae going. I don't think I'm going to do sand in here this time, just to make it a little bit easier, especially if I have to swap this out again sometime. So we'll do the algae in this section, and then I did put the brace right over the baffle, which where it needs to go. If you remove it, then it needs to go back into the middle, in the middle of this chamber. So that's it, guys. The easy part is done. Now comes the difficult part of swapping it out. I'll show you once it's set up and all done. It won't be this video, but I'll show you next round here, hopefully, this puppy in and running. Thank you so much, guys, for stopping by. We appreciate you, love you. Hit that bell for notification. Don't forget to subscribe, all that good jazz, and we'll see you soon. Peace.